The first signs that I was becoming an alcoholic, so an addict, specifically an alcoholic, were, oh my God, external world and internal world, so obvious in retrospect. And I'm really excited to share this with other people just because I feel like if my suffering, can help one other person, then it hasn't been in vain. And I want to share with you the original, really obvious signs that I was becoming an addict, an alcoholic, and all these signs, other people can watch for and know when there's a point where you're like, danger, danger, you can be smarter than me. Listen to your body, listen to the signs, and never end up in that place where I got to. Because with addiction, once you get to a certain point at the DSM-5, which is the way that we assess it clinically in terms of the Medical Journal of America, once you understand the diagnosis and how the neurology's changed, you learn that there's a big distinction between abusing alcohol or any other drug and becoming an addict, because the neurology fundamentally shifts. Whole other videos on how and why all that happens there, but today we just want to talk about what are those key signs so you can avoid them. If they start to happen, you can seek help, get professional help, work with it, and you may catch it before you actually get as sick as I did. That's what I'm really hoping for today. So those first signs, first one. Now, this was years before I went sober. I went to a doctor and I said, strangest things happening. Like I'm having these big nights out drinking. It was my party girl era. But the next day I have this chronic anxiety, and I'd never felt anxiety before. So I was like, what is this weird thing that's happening to me? And she's like, oh, that's anxiety. Might have something to do with the drink, but we need to treat the anxiety. So here's a benzo. She tried to just treat the symptom, not the wound, not look at the real problem. Now, nothing against her. I'm no victim. It's a fault of the medical system, but it's crazy that somebody in the medical profession would not understand that that was the first sign that my body was becoming physiologically and psychologically addicted to the chemical of alcohol, because I was starting to get withdrawals. When I went from heavy drinking to stopping drinking, I got withdrawals. So that was the first really, really, really obvious sign. Now, the other signs are ones people might have seen, but just really do watch out for them. And that is the blackouts. And also not just the blackouts, but when you start to black out when you don't even think you're that drunk. Like you can't remember the night before at all. That's the serious sign. And then the other really big one to watch for, and now I'm going to tell you one really obvious one to check for, but the other really big one is that lack of control. And people often say, oh, I'm not an alcoholic because I don't drink every day. Once you start drinking, you can't stop, you have a problem. Leads me to the nice little segue to the obvious thing. If you have to control your usage, then the alcohol has some control over you. So there is some level of a problem. Again, we're not labeling, that doesn't matter. We're just looking at the spectrum. And if you have a problem, if you have to control your alcohol usage, then there's a problem. So you do need to go and speak with a coach, go and speak with a therapist. Better to speak with an addiction expert, because people are so poorly informed. I work with a mental health center here that I do some work with, and their head clinical psychologist said to me, she's like, I learned everything since uni. The Huberman podcast, Dr. Gabor Mate, I'm going to link to some of the research in the comments section here. If you want to know anything more about addiction, how it all works, alcoholism specifically, any of that, check out all the other videos. But today I will just leave you with, those are the first key signs: severe anxiety, blackouts because of the higher tolerance, and just needing to control your alcohol. So there you are. I hope that helps you before it helped me, and wishing you all the best. if you could share this, that would be wonderful, because I just want to get it out there. This is how we can help people, by shifting these things. And yeah, like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. Okay, thanks.